A very, very welcome update on the West Memphis Three and something that again, it's a big may that may help us with other cases like the boys on the track, a tragedy where several kids were killed in Arkansas as well, and the Kyle Brennan case. And unfortunately, some other cases where very young people consistently keep getting victimized by cults. And for whatever reason, corrupt officials, either the police or the government, just will turn a blind eye or sometimes are in active collaboration. So let us get to Damien. So for a long time, Damien's innocence has been questioned because even though he maintained he had no role in the killing of these three very, very young kids, there is pretty strong evidence he did it, but nothing rock solid, no real strong physical evidence. And so it's always been a question mark. He took a plea with his other two cohorts, but he's always maintained he is innocent and wanted further DNA testing. Now, I join William Ramsey and Doug Scott Kramer. I don't trust Damien. I think he's a very ugly, stupid, narcissistic psychopath. I don't think he's actually guilty in this case. However, he is a very scary, dangerous person deeply into the occult. He is very embedded in these satanic cults and has always been very deceptive about his level of participation. But this is a guy who, at a very young age, was part of the OTO, which, if you don't know, was one of the satanic temples that, yes, inspired Hubbard and Scientology. So he is into very dangerous black magic. That is him. But now apparently the state in Arkansas is going to grant, at this point at least, that new evidence that people thought was destroyed back in the 90s is available, and he wants DNA testing and to clear his name. Now, my personal opinion is this is probably a Hollywood sideshow. Probably the DNA will not really show us anything. It may not even prove his innocence, but obviously it proves good worth that he sincerely wants to clear his name. Now, the main goal, of course, is to make Damien feel good, keep up his Hollywood celebrity status, make him money, so on and so forth. I don't care about that. So if Damien benefits, whatever. He's tied up with some very ugly, evil customers, but that's him. However, this does prove a point, and it is very problematic that the documentary, as well as the movement to free Damien and the West Memphis Three, has some lessons to teach us, but they have to be the right lessons. So I think the partisan documentary that helped start the movement is, to put it mildly, very, very deceptive. Nevertheless, it did something good in forcing the state to expose its own corruption. And clearly, even if you think Damien is guilty, that investigation was incredibly, incredibly incompetent and was very partisan. And although the anti-Damien people want to clear the police and the judges and everyone else, that is not my opinion. Clearly, those people wanted to put away these kids and wanted to do some satanic panic. It's definitely there. Maybe it wasn't the only factor, but it was definitely there. But the important thing for Kyle and the boys on the track and other cases is if we do get some documentaries, I think, frankly, honest ones, that do spark more interest, we can get some movement going. There have been two good documentaries on Kyle. Nothing is really happening. There have been a few creators in the SBTV, quote, space that is allegedly the anti-Scientology movement and where they come from, and they've acknowledged Kyle at least, but really they only do something symbolic tied into their partisan agenda, and when it no longer fits their agenda, they don't talk about him. It's just a big tragedy, and the boys on the track suffer from the same thing, that just mysteriously a lot of witnesses, a lot of people who could help are either dead or have disappeared. Same thing with Kyle. Kyle's father is gone. Can't find him at this point. There is a good update on one witness who might be able to be contacted. But again, same thing with Denise Miscavige, one of the likely suspects. Hard to find her. I'm sure she's still in Scientology, but we can't really find her. So a lot of people who could help to open up the case are literally the guilty parties, perhaps. So they're not going to be very cooperative. So it's going to take some effort and time. But the West Memphis 3 case does demonstrate that if we do have strong, persistent media attention and get a movement that involves, yes, celebrities and Hollywood, something positive can happen. Now, with Damien, it was being manipulative. I think really only helped him and his friends. But the lesson to be learned is, yes, we need to get more media attention on Kyle, boys on the track, and these other victims of either Scientology, Satanism, or these other really ugly cults that may have very deep government ties. Definitely Florida is out. It's just not to be trusted as a state. We have to get something bigger, whether the UN, president, or Congress to intervene. They don't seem really interested at this point, but we can do it. We can pressure something to happen. Damien has taught us a good lesson, perhaps in a bad way, but there is a lesson to be learned here.